This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about here on this show because it can change your life in a very short period of time. A lot of people have aversions to this and misconceptions of what it is. I'm talking about hypnotherapy. And a lot of times you hear hypnotist and you have that visual of the TV show. It could be the movie where somebody's hypnotizing somebody else, and there's some validity to that, but then it's also a stage show. And this can help you with phobias, anxiety, want to stop smoking, all of the above, so many different things. We're going to learn more about it today from a licensed, internationally certified hypnotherapist and hypnotist. She's a clinical, I want to make sure I have the right. Clinical MSW stands for?
Master's in Clinical Social Work.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And her name is Sherl Eberwine. She joins us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Steve. It's really exciting to be here.
Likewise to have you here. I am a hypnotherapy cheerleader once I realize what's going on inside our mind and how hypnotherapy can help us navigate that. Game changer. And I'm sure you hear similar stories from people that you work with where they probably tell you, why did I wait so long for this? Why this is do you hear those things?
Absolutely. Actually, people have to really be ready for hypnotherapy because most of the time they've already tried every other kind of therapy that's out there and have
Mm,
not gotten the real lasting results that they're really looking for. So when they find out about hypnotherapy, which is one of the reasons why I'm here today, is basically once they find out about it and get a better understanding of what it is and how it can shift their whole thought process, it's a game changer,
yeah.
totally, not totally. It's actually fully, I consider it, it's not just hypnotherapy, the particular method that I utilize it's truly transformational work. You can
Mm,
route out old belief systems that have really limited you, that have kept you stuck in old patterns that, oh my God, the things that people have suffered with. Even simple phobias can rule your life. Think about it. I mean, if you're terrified of a bridge, that really limits what you can do. A lot of people are afraid of flying. That's a simple thing that can usually be taken care of in one session.
mm.
It runs their life, it affects their business, their travel, their family relationships. So it's really powerful stuff. And it's so transformational because it really seeks to get to the root cause of the issue, not just the symptoms. You're not like modern medicine, allopathic medicine is about, oh, let's treat the symptom. Here's a pill, right? Who cares about where it comes from or the root cause? Hypnotherapy is kind of the same thing. It goes to, well, not the same thing as that. It seeks to go to the root cause of the actual issue and change it there. Once you've found out the root cause through the hypnotherapy process, accessing the subconscious, then you can rat out those beliefs, identify where those fears came from, shift them out, replace them with new empowering thoughts, and it's a whole new world. It's a game changer for sure.
Mm. I want to go back briefly to what you said a moment ago in terms of you have to want it to work.
Yeah.
And I I suggested it to a loved one. They went for about 3 sessions with somebody I felt would be really good with them. And they said, man, I really didn't see any results. I know their personality. I know they weren't really ready. I just know it.
Yeah.
I just the way it is. And it's the same thing if, let's say, you have your spouse partner, um, they want you to stop smoking. You know you should. Maybe you're not ready. They make an appointment for a hypnotherapist. You show up begrudgingly. Here I am, make it work, whatever. Not going to work. It's just not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People have to want to change. You can never make someone change until they're ready. That's
Mm,
primary number one. So when I said you really have to want the change. And again, a lot of people that come to me, have tried other things, have been in multiple therapies over their lifetime and
yep.
tried just about every self-help book out there, online hypnotism, online affirmations. Those are all helpful, absolutely. But they're just treating the surface. The way I work and the way I was trained under Marissa Peer with rapid transformational therapy is part of the aspect that I use. It's getting deep to the root cause, accessing the subconscious us through really deep relaxation techniques, which feel wonderful, by the way. There's nothing scary about them. Your access
Oh,
set into a really deep, mindful, relaxed state, and you're always aware of what's going on. A hypnotherapist especially, can never make you do what you don't want to do.
yeah.
That is a total,
Let's get this out of the
yeah,
way right now.
get
Yes.
it out of the way. And
You're,
you can come out of the hypnosis anytime you want to.
yeah.
It's really, people find it deeply relaxing. In fact, I find a lot of times I prefer to do sessions in the afternoons or early evening because people are so relaxed after they can basically unwind and get a deep night's sleep and just, let all that sort of integrate and get off to a good start. And also, when I said people really have to want to do this, is because the way I work, when I'm done with a client, typical sessions, hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's a pretty long session. And before that, of course, there's intake, there's information passed back and forth before we even begin the session. And once we identify everything, at the end of the session, I leave the client with about a 15-minute bespoke personalized recording, audio recording. And they have to make the commitment to listen to it every day for a minimum of 21 days. Yeah, if they
Hmm.
miss a day here and there, I mean, there's no police out there that's going to come arrest them, but for their best benefit, they have to want it that much or they're going to make that commitment to themselves and be non-negotiable about it. Doesn't matter what time of the day they do it. It can be the morning. Most people prefer to do it as they're going to sleep at night. And if you fall asleep in the middle of it, that's okay. Your subconscious is still listening. Yeah. And
So
it's,
to your point, just want to share it. I had hypnotherapy before we met. This probably 2 years ago,
mhm,
um, for a certain goal, and it did the 21 days, which is a recording, like you just said, and it was about 20 minutes, same kind of situation. After I achieved my goal, I would find myself putting on headphones and lying in bed and listening to it again for one reason, to fall asleep.
yeah,
It would put me out probably about 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in. I'd be like, oh,
wonderful.
and I'm
So
out.
an extra benefit, another benefit.
Yes, but here's the thing, to your point, that it's just reinforcing what the original goal was, which was achieved because the subconscious is still listening while I'm sleeping. So even though the recording ends, I'm in, dreamland, fantastic. That's how relaxing it is, and the information is still getting in. And yes, to your point, well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Would you say that you're not doing anything to us when we're under hypnosis? It's basically you're giving us the keys to our subconscious so we can do it.
Absolutely. My job is not to actually, well, when I get to the place of installing new belief systems that are very personalized, and that's
Sure.
part of the intake process that I identify those with you. It has to be what you really want, not what
Yeah.
I want for you, but what you really want. But back to that point, absolutely, you have to, I, I just lost my train of thought. What did you
No,
just?
when you are helping us,
Guiding them. Yes, yes,
yes.
exactly. Absolutely. It's all about guiding. I'm not there to tell you anything that you don't already know. It's accessing the subconscious in a really relaxing, deep way. And once the client is in that space, things are going to open up for them that some clients don't even know were there. We can
Mm,
plan a session, which is such a fascinating work. I find it's just so interesting to work with clients because you can, do an intake, an initial consultation, say they really have a fear of spiders or whatever, or let's just say something simple like that. And then once we get into hypnosis and we start regressing them, which basically I lead them back to just a general idea and a scene will pop in their head. It's amazing. And they'll be like, oh my God, I'd forgotten that. I've never thought about that since. And it'll take us down a whole different road that maybe led to the fear of the spiders later, but another bigger issue comes up. So it's like peeling an onion sometimes. Sometimes the initial issue that's presented, it can unfold into something even different as the session progresses. So you have to, as a hypnotherapist, you really have to think on your feet. So even doing lots of preparation, sometimes you really have to kind of pull out your toolbox and grab different tools. It's not just three or four tools. We have a whole basket of tools based on whatever comes up in the session. And we're using your intuition as well, and where you think you best need to guide the client to get the maximum benefit.
Mm. Well, let's say somebody wants to stop smoking, and now you've given them access to their subconscious, and you make suggestions about stopping smoking. That's the goal of the client. That's what they want to achieve.
That's the end goal that's been
That's the
identified.
end goal. Yes. But if you were to say something like, okay, what I really want you to do is run naked through rush hour traffic tomorrow at 4 p.m., they're not going to do it because they don't, that's not what their goal is. Same thing if you said, give me your social security number and all your credit card
Well,
numbers.
sure. It's
Nobody's
never
going to
going
do
to
anything.
happen.
It's not
Exactly.
never going to happen
It's never gonna happen.
unless I want to run naked through traffic and
Exactly.
that's a goal. Then
Unless
okay.
that's really deep, a deep goal of yours in your deep subconscious. Really interesting.
But you would know,
Yes,
that
yes.
resonates with you. But
Yeah.
the point is that you make those suggestions, only the ones that somebody aligns with is what's going to happen or is going to make that change within somebody. Would you say that, Cheryl, the majority of the challenges that we have go
Mhm.
back to our childhood? Yeah, 0 to 7, somewhere in that territory.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's really what's going on here. Why we do what we do as adults.
It truly does. Of course, other issues come on later in life.
Sure, sure.
An issue like a car accident or a horribly traumatic experience,
Right.
in young adulthood or even later, or grief
Hmm.
issues, sure. But yeah, generally, a lot of really deeply rooted programs that we're not aware of do happen the first 7, 8 years of life. And primarily for the fact that the reason that children are not logical, they run by emotion. Their brain hasn't developed to
Hmm.
the place where they can see a situation and start processing, oh, I wonder why that happened. Hmm, they didn't really mean that, or that's because I did this, or they were thinking that, or they were in a bad place. The child automatically goes to something bad happens and it's my fault. I'm bad. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I made that happen. Dad left, it's my fault. Mom's crying all the time. I must be a terrible person. You can't talk logic to a child. They're processing things purely from an emotional state of being. They don't know anything else. They're not capable of understanding anything else at that stage. So, yes, we form beliefs about ourselves that are not helping us. Even in the
Hmm.
best childhood, a lot of us did not have perfect childhoods, obviously. But even for some are very traumatic. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the things you hear, but some people had wonderful childhoods and still have identified beliefs that are not serving them as adults.
100%. And it could be, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you could have a wonderful childhood, except it could be that one time where you came home, you're 7 years old, you did a painting and made the sky green. You like green. And one parent said to you, that's great. You really did a nice job on that. The boat looks fantastic. You know the sky is blue, though. It's not green. You know better than that. You can do better than
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
One little comment, and now I'm not good enough. I just
Absolutely.
grew
Yep.
up thinking that I can't be creative. I can't use, some of the thoughts that I have to be fun and because of that one
Exactly.
comment. And it wasn't your parent didn't mean to have it. They were afraid you're going to get made fun of in school for making a green
Abs
sky.
Absolutely. And children and everybody's different. We're all
Yeah.
wired different. We are genetic,
Yes.
epigenetics from past ancestral, who knows? We're finding out all these things with in the way the brain works. But yeah, and again, someone kid could have been beat up or bullied as a kid, and it
Yes.
somehow they coped with it fine. They didn't make it mean anything. Well, some kid could have one simple comment like that, and they were more sensitive or
Hmm.
whatever. And all of a sudden, I can never please mom or dad again,
Yep.
or I am just stupid. They make their mind is telling them things that are not true. And they attach to them. And then the mind will actually look for other things every day in another person, a situation that confirms that first belief they have about themselves. So if the belief is, I'm stupid, then all of a sudden they're going to see it in school every day. They're going to
Because they're
see it
they're
from other
looking
people.
for it.
They're looking for it. The mind is actively looking for that same to
Proof.
identify that same emotion, that same feeling, and attaching to it. And so it builds and builds like a snowball. and we're not even aware it's there. And it's a background program that's running constantly and colors everything that we do. It's amazing the stuff that can come up.
It's amazing but sad at the same time that our minds operate that way.
True. Yes.
But
They can
that
be they can be our best ally or our worst enemy, our critical mind. That's another key factor in hypnotherapy. Once you access the deep subconscious, the inner critic that runs all the time is gone.
mm,
So the mind is more malleable, more welcoming to positive, uplifting, empowering affirmations and suggestions. Whereas the logical mind, when we're awake, would go, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that sounds okay. I'll say that affirmation, but I don't believe it.
right.
The inner critic's run. So when you're
Mhm.
saying affirmations, sometimes they sound good, but your inner critic's going, like the little angel on one shoulder and the little devil on the other. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, that's stupid. You don't believe that. Blah, blah, blah. The mind's constantly chattering. I'm a yoga instructor as well from the past, and we call it the monkey mind, the
Oh
chicken.
yeah.
It's constantly going, that little dialogue, constantly going and running in the background. So getting to a place where you can empower, rot out those old beliefs, install new beliefs, that's where comes towards the end of the session. When the mind is in that receptive state, where it says that's not me, I'm not that child anymore, that wasn't true, that's not me. I'm an adult now. I can choose for myself. And you install these new belief systems, and the mind is ready to absorb them and to be empowered by them and be your cheerleader instead of your bully.
You're vastly different in that you do this work, but you also have a master's in social work.
Mhm.
So you have a very good understanding of how the mind works. And not to minimize anybody who's a hypnotherapist without those credentials. But Cheryl, how'd you get to this point? What made you want to study hypnotherapy? And was there like an aha moment where you said, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing?
Yes, I'd been in therapy myself, had a lot of transition in my life and transitions. And actually, when I did my clinical social work is more in the psychological, family relationships, marriage, family dynamics, those types of things. And I was in that field for about 14 years, the VA, psych hospitals, a lot of different venues, so to speak, and some physical rehab. Um, so cognitive behavioral therapy, all the other basic therapies that were there. This was back quite a few years ago. I'm a little bit older now. And they have their benefit and they're very supportive and they really help people get on their feet when they're going through a hard time. And it can be nice to have that objectivity. It's wonderful. I'm not dissing, regular therapy
Hmm.
again, but hypnotherapy is like a complete it's like therapy on steroids. You get right to the chase. It's not just talk, 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 unless weeks go by, months, years sometimes. And you might feel a little supported, you feel a little better, but like, what's really changing?
Mm,
I still don't feel like I'm getting the result. Still don't feel really confident, or I still don't feel like my life is unfolding the way I want it to. Something's holding me back. What is it? You go round and round. It's like a looping thought in your mind almost. And the therapist sometimes, doesn't have any other tools. And again, and there's wonderful therapists out there. I am not faulting them at all. But
sure.
when I came upon hypnotherapy myself, it was literally a huge aha moment for me. I mean, when we train, we have to do multiple sessions, of course, with other therapists, with other students, with teachers, with trainers. And stuff came up for me that I was like, oh my God, I didn't even remember that. Holy hell.
Mm,
And I realized I had so many things that no wonder I was having so much anxiety and fear and worrying about tomorrow. And because I never felt safe as a child on some level. And certain
wow.
incidents came up that I wanted to forget. And they weren't horribly traumatic, but for a child they were. And my child's mind decided the world was not safe. And my family was not a safe place to be in. And that was
Mm,
running in the background, even though I saw myself as confident. I'd achieved quite a bit in my life. I was very independent. I had businesses, and I'm like, oh wow. And once I saw that through my own experience as a client in hypnotherapy, so this stuff is unlike anything I've come across. This is so powerful, and had my own personalized recording. Wow.
oh,
It shifted a lot of things for me, big time.
Did this happen for you where in hypnotherapy you saw those visions of your childhood and they weren't necessarily things that you didn't see before? Like if we think back to
Yeah,
our childhood, we see
sure.
this, we see that a little bit here, but it was way more clearer under
Yes,
hypnotherapy
yes.
and maybe potentially helped you connect the dots. I remember that time that happened, but
Mhm.
it, you realize it had more of an impact on you than you ever would have imagined.
Absolutely. Yes, sometimes some things would come up that I remembered that incident very well, but then other
Mm.
things came up that I had weren't didn't seem significant, but the emotion came up with it. And you're like,
Yes.
oh,
Thank you for saying that.
the emotion, the emotional wound that was there was like, wow, I had no idea that impact
Yes.
was that
Yeah.
bad.
I got you. And the reason I asked that, because I experienced that. And
Yes,
yeah, I
good
got
for you.
bullied on the playground all the time. And
Yeah,
I would, yeah, I know, yeah, that wasn't fun. Okay. But during hypnotherapy, I saw me very vivid, like watching a movie on the playground, walking by myself. I could even tell you where my hands were. Like
yeah.
I would just walk around like this, just like,
Mhm.
yeah, all right, just like hanging out here. But the emotion that, yeah, and I forgot, thank you for that word, the feeling of being alone.
Mhm.
There's a
Lonely.
hundreds of kids all over. I'm alone. Never connected that feeling until hypnotherapy, and then that was the game changer. That's where the path
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
change took place.
Yes, Steve, we find that basically a lot of traumas or wounds that we carry come down to three basic premises, and you can word them however you like, but this is how I'll word them, is either one, I'm not enough. That can
Yep.
be I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm just not enough in life.
Hmm. And
Another
isn't that one kind of universal, like the
it
big
is,
one,
it's
the big
these
one?
are universal to most any human being I've ever literally
Yes.
dealt with or met. And
Yeah.
if you really think about things, it all kind of boils down to that. The second one is they're all very similar. It's basically, um, I don't connect, I don't belong, I'm alone.
Mm.
And the third one is I'll never have access to what I really want. Am I ever going to get what I really want? And do I deserve it? They all basically
Ah.
boil down to fear, a level of fear. And as I've done this work and I'm trying to formulate, like, how can I best help people? Because hypnotherapy can be used for, fears, phobias, relationships, traumas, grief. Oh my God, smoking, addiction, so many things that it's powerful with, insomnia, um, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But really, all of it boils down to fear. Fear of
Yeah.
letting go of something, fear of moving on, fear of not being enough, fear of not having what I want, fear of not
Fear,
living life
fear of
fully.
failure, fear of success. There are some of us
Absolutely.
that feel that
Yeah,
we don't even know it, but we're derailing our opportunity to succeed. Like, oh, how many people say, I'm never going to make enough money. I can't. I'm never going to be able to afford a car. I can't.
exactly.
That
Yep.
probably goes back to, and I have a friend, she says this. She's wonderful, does charity work, is a connector,
Yep.
but she's a single mom not making enough money. And I know because she's explained some situations that her mom used to say, well, be careful, money doesn't grow on trees. I mean, her parents
Oh, grew up
told
with
us
that
that.
one too.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of us did. Yeah.
And her ex used to, there was a money situation there. So he would, pound a certain message. So she feels and doesn't even realize it that she can't make money. She can't
Right.
have abundance. And
Right.
it's those
Right.
things that were programmed. Now, the
It's
next
not
person,
available to her. It's not available to her. It's
but
available to other people, but
right.
not her.
And
She's
and you could have
decided.
somebody, like you said before, dealing, they heard the same exact stuff. They're a different person, rolls off their shoulder, and they're a multimillionaire. It doesn't even
Exactly.
matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is so powerful to change your life. You can do this virtually too, right?
Oh, I do. I work in pretty much entirely virtually. Even with local clients, I find they prefer it. We figured out ways to do it better during the pandemic,
Yep.
because people weren't going into office and such. And actually it works out better for most people it does. And you can work internationally easily. My daughter's an Australian.
Yep.
So, and she's got friends there and people, but basically you can work worldwide, but people are more comfortable in their own home. And when you go into a deep state of hypnosis, it's nice to be able to relax after in your home and not have to jump in your car and drive across town, fight traffic, and,
Totally.
and get out of that relaxed, blissed out state And you know, tears may come. You know, when I had my sessions, I cried like a baby, you
Same.
know, because the deep emotions came up and they needed to go. You know,
Hmm.
you got to
But
get them out of the body.
it was emotional, but
But good, cleansing. It was
you
cleansing.
you knew
Yes.
what was coming, and that was positive change. And do you know how many hypnotherapy sessions I had in person? None, never, all virtual, and
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
It,
Um,
it works for
Terrific
me.
talking with you. We're out of time. I can just keep
Oh
going.
my
I mean,
gosh, we're out of time. I just do want to say one thing actually
please,
that I think the most important thing with the fear is that fear basically is prevalent in our whole society. It's pandemic right now, truly. You know, changes in life, institutions, government,
sure.
you know, money, everything's kind of chaotic. And people are really missing that feeling of safety, inner safety. And that only comes from coming back within yourself and seeking all the answers within you, which hypnotherapy gives you access to. And so
Mm. What you said through hypnotherapy, I pilot by this. All you need is within you now. Everything,
absolutely
healing, answers, it's all
everything.
there. Unfortunately, the message gets mucked up from the stuff that we've dealt with, whether it's a child or whether, you know, those traumas as we got older. Cheryl, best way to find you, how do we do that?
At my website, Hypnotherapy by Sherl, and it's SHERL.com. It's a basic contact form on there. And also my phone number is 757-338-3349. And I love doing this work.
Yeah.
I'm really privileged to be able to do it. And it lights me up. And it's nothing's better than seeing somebody get that aha and just shift their life. Truly, it's juicy. It's great stuff.
Your passion just comes rocketing through for what you do. And it's wonderful. Like your vibration is it's great.
Well, I
Um,
truly feel blessed to have found this. I do at 65, and I've been through a lot. I just feel so lucky and blessed to be able to do this. And I really want to help people who are really struggling with their fears and anxieties and whatever else may come up.
because it changed your life.
It has changed my life and many people that I know. Yeah. And we're all here
Terrific
to help
talking
each
with you.
other. We're all here to help each other, Steve,
Yeah.
right? Yep, that's what
Everybody's
it's
got a
about.
story. We all
That's
learn.
right.
We learn from those
Absolutely.
stories. Appreciate all the insight, debunking some of the myths, and if we get a chance to get together again, I look forward to it. Thanks for being here
I
today.
would too. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate your time. Have a good
Likewise.
day.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.